All right, welcome
7 to
in
9.
and good afternoon here on Tingle & Co. as we are making up for the sins
Of your father.
not my father.
Of my father. Kept me up late last night.
Kept you up
Happy
late.
birthday, Aunt Helen.
Happy birthday, Aunt Helen. She listen?
No, she should now. She's telling happy birthday.
Yeah.
But we decided we would return and
Hand
make
up
up.
apologies.
Make
I'm sorry.
up.
Always
make up our
am.
mistakes. Yep. There you go, Lloyd. I'll let you give your apology, your public apologies.
I do apologize.
Ooh, heartfelt.
The Discord really had a lot to say.
I know, I was about to check it. You know I care. Sorry. I try my
I
best.
can finish. I said Lloyd cares.
That's on me too.
Sabron.
I'm supposed to be the
Look who
the
showed up.
safety net.
Look, so what really, I set my alarm
Break it
for
down, yeah, break it down.
6:20 p.m.
Yeah.
That doesn't help anybody.
Nope.
An oversight, if you will. And so if it had been 6:20 a.m., we wouldn't be here now. So you wouldn't get this late surprise. Everything that's bad can always be good. And now we're here. And so instead of, we get to lead you into the weekend as opposed to waking you up early. You're probably almost done with work. This is a great time to take in Tingle & Co. Get fired up for LSU football heading to the weekend. Week 0.
Yeah, you got football. You got college football tomorrow.
It's almost a positive.
You got college football tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, you got 8 days until game day. That was my thing this morning. Me and Christian were standing outside the studio.
Jack Hunt.
We were like, Trinidad Holiday.
Major Burns.
Jawan Johnson.
Oh, nice. Mr. Johnson.
Jakeem Jackson.
Double A's.
There you go. Donovan Green's double eights. Kamorian Pimpton.
Oh, that's,
Where did he go?
TCU, I believe.
yeah, they always get the scraps.
But, was it what DRs ended up at TCU?
Mhm.
Yep.
He was 9.
He was.
Not the one
I
people
saw
think
Ricky
about.
Collins didn't get the job at Syracuse.
He didn't. He won it in the spring, and then they brought a spring portal guy in who took the job from him. Scammed my guy. I still believe in Ricky. Ricky's going to be a starting quarterback somewhere.
Big knees.
I didn't want him to go.
But appreciate
Will
you guys.
Narcisse.
Stud. God believed in him.
The coach now.
Well, Peter Parrish, 4'8", 2019. Patrick Queen, obviously. But appreciate you guys getting in here late as we're trying to make up for our mistakes this morning. As me and Christian were hanging out outside waiting for Lloyd and Jonathan, who obviously were resting.
Breakdown.
I was sitting there and I was
Trey
like,
Quinn.
oh, legendary 8. I was sitting there and I was like, this is kind of like I was thinking about. Like I was like,
Are we?
this is kind of a big show for us to not have, like the SEC makes an announcement of these games for us. Obviously, it's something to react to and talk about. And then me and Jonathan both put in all this work
Who's
on
to
our
say I did?
offensive line.
You didn't.
No, you put in the mental reps, huh?
That's right. Like an offensive lineman should.
Offensive lineman breakdowns, and I was like, I put in the effort on this. And
I was
even get
so
to talk about it.
pissed. Look.
Yeah,
Yeah, break it down.
share those notes with me. Come on, be a good
Share the
teammate.
screen.
Handwritten.
Screen share.
We're also missing 1 8. That's probably the best 8.
Zach Mettenberger.
No, close. Watched him not that long ago.
So not that long ago.
Got robbed.
I'm drawing a blank. Give me a second. The best 8 got robbed. Oh, Malik Neighbors.
Yes.
BJ Ojolari also wore 8. Then gave it to Desmond Little when he got 18. Yep. But yeah, no, Malik Neighbors obviously robbed of the Blitnikoff. But good afternoon. Appreciate you guys being here as we're actually going to get into show content this afternoon. I almost said this morning because it's muscle memory. But I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys joining us as we did a little impromptu. But you guys deserve it. I appreciated how much you obviously care. 1, to be in the Discord anyways, but 2, to be missing the show enough. Springs the band posted an Instagram post missing us this morning.
That was sweet.
It was very nice. So I appreciate you guys. As LSU is 8 days away, Austin Thomas met with the media yesterday, a little press conference. We got some sound. Don't know if we'll get to it this afternoon because it's probably going to be a quick one. But Austin Thomas had some nice sound bites from yesterday. And today is, like I said, the offensive line breakdown day, as we've got some notes on LSU's offensive line and Clemson's. This is probably one of the more talked about position groups on both teams for kind of different reasons. So it's going to be fun to dive into that as we've prepared some really good stuff. And obviously the big news yesterday was the SEC folded That was my least favorite part about it, is they absolutely folded and just gave in to what the other conferences wanted and are implementing a 9-game conference schedule next year in 2026. The rules of that, I mean, it will continue with a single standings, non-divisional structure. Each school will play 3 annual opponents, focus on maintaining many traditional rivalries. So those traditional rivalries will be like the Iron Bowl, the Egg Bowl, those sorts of games.
The battle for the Golden Boot.
There you go. Which we'll see if they hold on to that one. I'm intrigued, that game. Each team's remaining 6 games will rotate among the remaining conference schools. Each team will face every other SEC program at least once every 2 years, and every opponent home and away in a 4-year span. So a lot of changes coming to the SEC schedule. And I guess before we kind of dive into it, I want to ask the chat, who do you believe LSU's 3 annual opponents will be? I actually started in my notes just writing out, the gimmies. I've got Bama already has 2. They're obviously going to have Auburn and Tennessee. A&M is going to have Texas. Texas is going to have A&M and Oklahoma. Vandy's going to have Tennessee. So Tennessee's got Bama and Vandy. Auburn's going to have Georgia, so they've got Bama and Georgia. Georgia's going to have Auburn and Florida. Some of the gimmies I've started to fill out, and so we'll see how it continues to grow. So just drop your thoughts in the chat this morning. God, there it is. This afternoon. And on top of that, I just want to ask the room's opinion. How do we feel about the 9-game conference schedule here at Tingle & Co.?
The only thing that really bothers me about it is what you hit on. It's like the fealty. Like, you bent the knee for something. Like, you should know and sack up and let people. The country needs to know that this is the hardest conference in college football, and college baseball, and in college basketball. I believe the SEC should be dictating the rules and the terms. But you saw this is going to be incremental change. This is the sign of things to come in which college football, the most perfect imperfect sport, continues to sabotage itself.
Yeah.
It
Right.
feels like 4 times now we're changing this thing. Because now this leads me to think that it's going to be inevitable that there's a change to the college football playoff.
That's my takeaway. It's like, well, I'm just not in favor of making your life harder when you don't have to. And it seems like we just all kind of willingly did that. So, okay, fine, whatever. But it definitely means that it's going to be an expansion to 16 in the next couple of years, if not
More.
doubling it up. And I think that is the wrong way to go for a dozen reasons. Like part of what made the 4 excellent, was that it was so hard to get in, and it was special. It was hard. We got in one time, and it was fucking satisfying. 12, it's still difficult to get in, but it's a little easier, and it's not quite as special. But if it gets up to 16, if it gets up to 24,
I've seen 28.
it's 28.
But I guess that's where the balance is, where while somewhat it's easier from a record standpoint, your schedule is changing and becoming harder. So like those can kind of counteract each other in the fact of, while more teams have the opportunity to get in, the schedules make it more difficult to achieve the record at which, like right now, obviously for the 4 team, you wanted to be undefeated. Like if you lost, you are risking not making it.
It was thrilling.
And now it's 2 losses. If you have more than 2 losses, you're not going to get in, which is obviously rare. You saw the SEC, they got 3 teams in last year? Tennessee, Georgia, Texas. Because if you had 3 losses, you didn't make it. Bama didn't get in. Ole Miss didn't get in. South Carolina didn't get in. And so now I would say 3 losses, you're safe. If it goes to 16, 3 losses would be safe. But outside of 3, 4 losses, you're still not in. And if you're adding an additional SEC game, becomes that balance of, well, here's maybe an extra loss depending who's at it. Like LSU's schedule, say they did it this year. LSU's schedule would stay the same besides the Western Kentucky game. Would become Texas or Georgia or Auburn or Mississippi State or Kentucky, one of those teams that's not on the schedule already. So you're adding an additional maybe loss later on in the year, especially that week 11 that the game is usually played, where there's going to be a lot on the line in those games. And so, while I agree with your point, because I'm opposed to it. Like, I don't like it. As a fan, yeah, is it going to be cool to get an extra SEC game and you're not going to have to watch LSU versus Western Kentucky and Alabama versus the Citadel and Georgia Southern and Georgia, like, you're not going to have to watch that game anymore. But from LSU's perspective, and really the SEC as a whole, there genuinely has to be a promise of expansion, which I don't know if there's a promise, but it's going to happen. To me, the bigger thing is there should be guaranteed spots.
I don't like that either.
Me neither. I don't like it at all. And because that just adds to, like, you kind of just have the freedom of, as long as I'm just the top 4 in the conference, I'm in. And so then, like, once you have that top 4 locked up, what do players start sitting out the last couple of games of the year?
Right.
Like, oh, we're undefeated through this week.
It's just, I mean, there's, I guess you could say, a big brother in the room. The NFL's right there. That's what they're doing. Where, like, when you've seen the Colts, like, sit out Peyton Manning. You've seen the Saints sit out Drew Brees. And then it becomes, like, this is...
It's ruined many a fantasy championship.
Of course. And then there's going to be fantasy college football, absolutely. But I guess this is a me thing. And this could be, like, old man yells at cloud is what it's turning into.
Right.
Of the regard in which I held the college football regular season my entire life is what makes college football so special to me. The fact that every week it was
fucking mad.
Yeah, it's chaos, and it was this fervent energy that you had to have competition, you had to compete, you had to win.
Right.
And that's where, because your season can end in a second. And you're like, oh.
And it was,
and it would hurt because you cared, because you had to.
It was almost fun, not fun, but it was more exciting.
It's thrilling.
Left out, you know,
Right.
like when there were 2 teams that had 1 loss and somebody gets tossed to the side. It was like, yeah, it fucking fired us up, but it's also like, yeah, you have to be the best of the best to get into this opportunity. And I don't think making that easier for them to play more games and make more money is good for the sport as a whole. Also, I think that there's a tertiary issue that no one's really touched on yet, in that you're fucking with the ecosystem, right? There are these smaller teams that make $1 million to come and play these easy games, right? And that's how they fund their programs. That's how they stay competitive.
I didn't even think about that.
That's how and now you're taking that money out of all those smaller
you're getting rid of
teams.
bye games outside of the 2 that you're allowed to have.
Yeah, so, you know, not only is it maybe not good for player health, you know, because you're putting these guys through hell and then 2 more playoff games potentially, you know, so they're playing a harder schedule against NFL caliber dudes every week. These aren't college kids anymore, you know, these are junior pros.
Grown men.
And so, you know, you're putting them at risk before they go and start their professional careers potentially. And then you're taking money out of the mouths of these smaller schools that you're going to lose football programs because of this, ultimately.
On top of that, I would say maybe the alternative argument to that point of the bye games is schools are probably saying, you know what, we're okay dropping that bye game now that rev share is on the front, and they're like, we got to hold on to as much money as we can. So I'm not going to flesh out that additional $750K to get Western Kentucky. So the schools probably aren't pushing back on that front because
it's the haves and have-nots. It always has been, but there was a way to, you know, benefit.
But it's becoming more stratified. It's the wealth gap is
right. Yeah, no, of course,
is increasing.
Well, and on top of that, you're all now the along with the money, the players are being taken from the mid-major school that you see in basketball that you always seen is dwindling down in that sport, but I mean, it'll forever live in basketball.
Right.
Baseball is kind of similar, where the mid-majors will, like, football, it never has really had mid-majors, and now it's really kind of, you would think it's growing parity by having more teams in, but it's not.
It's not.
This is my thing.
It's not.
You can expand the playoff all you want. Every single season, there are 8 teams that can win the national championship, regardless. Like, regardless of how many teams are in the playoff, every year I can name you 8 teams, and in that 8, you probably will get the national championship.
100%.
The holder. Like, going into last season, Ohio State was in that 8.
Yeah.
Going into 2019, LSU was the number 6 ranked team. They were in that 8. Every year Alabama won it. They were always in that 8. Georgia was in that 8 when they won it. Like, and sometimes it's less than 8. So we're expanding for the opportunity to play for one.
But it's not realistic.
But it's like, and I'm not, like, any given Saturday is a real thing.
Sure.
But
you can have a round
it's
one.
not, this isn't March Madness, and it never will be. Troy versus LSU was a once in a blue moon.
Right.
Like Appalachian State, that was once in a blue moon. ULM over Alabama, that's like they're legendary because they only happen once.
Right.
In men's basketball in March, it's called March Madness because every single year a 12 seed beats a 5 seed.
Yeah.
And every year a 15 seed beats a 2 seed. Every single and then three never once was there ever a 16 over 1. Now you've had it happen thrice.
Yeah.
And so I just really right now the driving force is what Andrew Messina is saying. It's money. It's TV money.
No doubt.
That's what it is. And my thing is I know right now sitting on this, standing on my soapbox, I can sit back and I can say, I feel like it's ruining the regular season of the sport. Last season was still awesome. The regular season was still fun. LSU versus Ole Miss still had real feelings in it, regardless of if you had a dog in the fight. Alabama, Georgia, when they were both undefeated at the start of the year, is still an awesome football game, regardless of
Texas, Georgia.
Right, it's not the regular season of this sport will never truly die.
No.
But the more you continue to fight with fire and play with something that was never perfect but was pretty awesome,
it was our kind
you're going to water it down. It'll never be just completely bland, but you can continue to water it down.
Well, and then I think that's what they know, right? If you're a college football fan, you'll continue to watch. You'll continue to be a college football fan. Same thing with the NFL when they added a wild card game or whatever the scandal is around the NFL. It's they're going to still watch. And and for college football, it's the same thing. I just met, there's a couple of times a year where it truly feels different.
Right.
And especially for a fan base that thrives on, when it's good, it's always good. But there's a couple of them that's this is the best place in the world right now. And to kind of feel like you're going to lose that feeling of, because a lot of what's tied into it is that if you lose, it's over. Right. And so everybody packs it up. Everybody shows out because this is the most important thing today in the state.
I love that it's agonizing.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's the fun is the terror that comes with it.
Right. Yeah, if there's no real risk of being injured or getting hurt or being emotionally invested, and there's no, at the end of it, that's what makes it feel good is that the threat of the pain at the end is to be invested into care. And it's we're not even playing. But just watching it and enjoying LSU the way that I do, it's it's because of the threat of this could be it. Or that little feeling you get whenever you do win one and you're all right, yes.
Right.
This is you feel gratified.
Yes.
And
you hold that feeling forever.
Forever. And the threat of kind of losing that special of even LSU Auburn whenever it was Bo Nix and it was 8 o'clock at night and you're this is going to be insane.
Yeah.
And now it's I don't know if I'll go. And I can watch it on TV. You're going to lose it's going to bastardize the college football experience from a campus and tailgate perspective.
And on top of that, what scares me is think about, forget the schedule change, just saying if the playoff expands. LSU versus Alabama is always the second Saturday of November, sometimes the first. It's always right there. It's in November. It's always
beginning of November.
It's always daylight savings time every single weekend. Alabama and LSU play on Saturday night, and Sunday morning you're in church and they're talking about the clocks being set back or whatever. It will be a sad, sad day when LSU and Alabama go into that game undefeated or with one loss, and it doesn't truly carry weight. Mm-hmm. Because it's possible. When in 2011, LSU, Alabama, undefeated in Tuscaloosa. What was on the line? If you lose that game, you probably aren't in the national championship. Now, obviously, somehow miracles happen for Nick Saban and Alabama and they get back in, they win it. 2019, same thing.
But that's part of the threat.
Undefeated. It's the two games of the century. You know why? Because they were undefeated, and if you lost, you were dead.
Yeah.
When you lost, you were dead. Now
it's a de facto playoff game. That is a playoff game.
LSU, Alabama
that's
going
the playoff
in.
game. The playoff game is built in.
Now LSU, Alabama both go in, say this season, they go into that game on November 8th with one loss each. Whoever loses that game is still in. After that game, if they don't lose again, they're still in. So as much as it's still going to have the juice, it's always going to have that juice.
It's never not going to be thrown.
LSU, Alabama, because if I'm going to talk about the permanent opponents, I would be surprised if they don't keep Alabama on LSU's schedule, because every year for the last 15 to 20, that has been the premier game, regardless of the up or down season. It's 2021. LSU's dog water. And Bryce Young and Max Johnson are in a duel. It's a dogfight. Durante Jones versus Nick Saban. Interim O is fired up on the sideline, fist pumping after an Avery Atkins fake punt. Like, LSU had nothing going for them that season, but it was still the most watched game that year. And LSU's always going to have that juice versus Alabama.
Coach
And it's fun to potentially, like, if we're out of it, maybe we can take a game off them.
Right,
And
but
spoil
the
their
hate is
chance
still
to
there.
do it.
Don't take that part away from it, because then it's
the playing spoiler.
you can't play that anymore.
Right.
Because Alabama could be undefeated. LSU's season's gone. Like, go back to 2019. Do you know why Alabama didn't get in? It wasn't because of the loss to LSU. They lost to Auburn the last week of the year when Mac Jones had to step in for Tua. They don't lose that game, they still have a chance to sneak in. I was very, very scared of it. Because as great as 19 LSU was, and I think they still would have won, I didn't want to see Nick Saban again.
There's scars here.
Right.
That
And
is-
so
there's
right,
a past that we should be.
We'll never die.
Let's not do that again.
But
once is plenty.
But
But now you'll play him twice.
if Alabama loses to LSU then, and then Auburn that last game of the year, they're in. They're the 12th seed. You're in. Like,
Yeah, and they're-
it's never going to lose the juice
And they're
truly.
one of the 8 teams that can win, but they're a 12 seed. You know, and so it's
And it's just so ingrained in my brain, and that's what I'm saying. Like we'll still like it all adjust, but the 8-4 year, no. And then it's like, it made the college football playoff.
An
deserve to be
8-4
in.
team should not win the
In
national
college football?
championship ever.
They shouldn't. You don't get the
I
right to
don't
go to the
care if
party.
you go on a run,
Right.
You know, somehow.
Well,
and-
even LSU in 2023 would have been awesome if they got into the playoff, and maybe they could have made a run against some of these non-SEC teams. Yeah. They didn't deserve to. Jaden deserved it. Yeah. Malik and Brian deserved it. That offense deserved it. The defense was not even close to a national championship defense.
And that said, if you have 2023 as like the precedent of a team that would have definitely gotten into an expanded playoff,
Yeah.
because they were close but not in, but you also there's a prevailing theory, I would imagine, that if LSU does get into a playoff in that scenario, every other team that is in it is going, I don't want to play them.
Of course.
Because they're going to score 45
Of course.
points, but
No.
their defense is dog water.
But the thing to me,
that's what makes
that's
it
a
exciting.
one-off.
But yeah, that's what.
saying dog water so much?
Yeah,
It's a great word.
I love it.
But that's what makes like the
argument.
the idea of it like somewhat entertaining, because don't let them get to the dance.
Right.
Like there's still that thought of kind of like the March Madness feel.
Yes.
Like they haven't hit their stride yet. They're like,
What was the-
if you go back to like
the
the
Cincinnati Bengals last year in the playoff.
Right.
Like, don't let Joe get in the
and he did
in
his
the-
damnedest.
And he didn't, but if he would have, they would have been like, I don't want to face Joe.
No,
But
you don't want to see Jaden Daniels and like the
Right.
2006 LSU football team. Like that team deserved a national championship. By the end of the year, when they faced off against Notre Dame, it was not even close.
Right.
Like this might be the best team in the country. What do you get? A Sugar Bowl trophy.
The 2004 Auburn team that just went back and claimed a natty.
Yeah.
Like
They should have been in.
They should have been in the
Like,
dance.
so there'll be times when this works in a way like that, where it's like Florida State. Like it's happening more and more a little bit. Like,
Right.
but these are things that you can point to in the sands of time that go. But that's also what makes it kind of like, fuck, we got screwed.
That's
Right.
the point.
And
yes.
but that's like I didn't get invited to the dance. It's like, well, not everybody gets to go. That's what makes it a
supposed
good
to be
dance.
special. It's supposed to be.
That's why it
really
means
Not
hard
what
everybody
it
gets to
is.
go to the VIP room. You just don't.
right.
And
Well,
sometimes
and
things just don't break your way. And you can have a really good team and you don't get in, and fuck, you remember those seasons. And then you come in the next year and you're like, we can't give up an inch, because
Right.
the second you do, we get left out, and that hurts, and that's what makes it exciting.
Well, and the
if
reason-
Minnesota and Missouri start getting in the playoff because we have 6 guaranteed spots,
Right.
What the fuck? How is that fun?
It's
Other
not.
than
Well, then they're just going to get beat up on. Maybe once every blue moon they make an upset. And,
And
it's
they'll-
like, this is why.
And then
And
they
they'll
lose the next
condition us to think
week.
that this is better.
Right, and it's not.
not.
they'll
Especially not for the player. What about, are we going to talk about player health ever? Are
No,
you going
we
to
don't-
adding
no.
games to their life?
We don't care about that.
Yeah, obviously. But my thing, and then back to the 9-game.
The man died on the football field and he's still on the team. He's still playing football.
Right.
Yeah.
LSU,
a good story.
Like the SEC is screwed with this 9-game conference schedule, because this conference is deeper than every. Like I don't want to hear the Big 10 or the Big 12 try to combat
It's
this or the
not
ACC.
comparable.
It's not comparable at all.
And they don't. That's what I started this segment off with. Is
Right.
At some point, you just have to. If you're the Big 10, the Big 12, the Pac-12, whatever the fuck, you just have to go. Look, they're better.
Right. How can we water them down, make them play each other more?
More.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we can snag one game against them every now and then, but just make them cannibalize
Yeah,
themselves.
because Georgia comes in
and
beat
it
up
keeps them
last
out
year.
the dance.
You know, Tennessee comes
Right.
in beat up. Like,
Because by the end of it, SEC on SEC crime is the
and now it's like,
hardest
oh,
crime.
Now go win 4 more games.
Yeah, go play at Penn
Right.
State that's been doing nothing all year. And, like, they're
It's
rested.
getting a break. Like Indiana is, and they have a 9-game conference schedule this year, and they have 154th strength of schedule, whatever the number is.
Right,
like,
yeah.
like Florida's got the number 1.
2 years in a row.
2 year, like it's just it's crazy, man.
And that'll
It
be
really-
LSU next year.
And you
We'll
know,
have the
12
hardest schedule in the country.
12 is stretching
And you know who-
already the number that that makes it any fun.
but
you
I'm
know?
fine. Like it
Like
worked
12's
last
okay
year
because
to an
there
extent.
are. It's kind of neat seeing Arizona State get in and Boise get a shot. You know, whatever, and that's cool. But it's like you said, there are really legitimately 6 to 8 teams that can actually do it.
Yes.
Okay, so 12, that's cool. You don't get in, that still kind of hurts enough. but it's-
28, ew.
28 is ew. 16 is ew.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
You know?
16, I wouldn't like if it happened. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm swearing that like
But
it's,
16 means it's gonna be 24
right.
within
That's
10 years.
That's the
5 years.
The underlying.
It's almost like
you
they
give a mouse a cookie.
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost like they've kind of bungled this to be able to say, oh, look at the teams that we left out. If we had more spots.
Right. That's what I mean. That's exactly what they've done.
Yeah.
That's why.
And it
Florida
might have been
State
on
missed out.
accident.
There's also something that we're not talking about, that these programs are looking for more money because they now have to compensate their players.
Absolutely.
rev share.
All this
And
is tied in
it's
together.
like,
It's-
well, this money needs to come back to the school in some way, or come back to the conference in some way. So how can we make up this cash that we're being forced to spit out to these players?
Ticket sales, ad revenue,
Yeah.
TV revenue, and no more buy games.
So people are looking at that and saying, well, we need to get this money back.
Right.
And no, you don't. No, you fucking don't. You're all fine. Everyone's making enough money.
Do you know who the biggest winner of all of this is? Outside of just the TV, like the biggest program that's the biggest winner out of all this, the college football program, it's the biggest winner. Notre Dame is
Yeah,
going to be
Notre
in
Dame.
for the rest. Why would they ever join a conference now?
Yeah.
It's meant like, and
Well,
so the
we
fact
make things
that,
harder on ourselves.
the fact that they're making things harder on them, like not even just the SEC, Big 10, Big 12, everybody is making their lives harder, and it's making Notre Dame be like, why they like it further. I saw the tweet put out earlier. It further enforced their focus on being independent. Like, of course, it further. Why wouldn't it? Because you're going to be in every year.
I'm like, oh, well, we have to play Navy.
Like
We have, we have. It's tradition. We have.
before
to
they
do
did
these
this, they
things.
should have made Notre Dame get in a conference.
Absolutely.
Because like they are at now they were at an advantage last year. They're at more of an advantage, and so it's just I was very, very surprised to see the SEC bend the knee the way they did and just absolutely fold.
Because at the end of the day, who do you think the greediest little piggy in the trough is?
Yeah.
It's the SEC.
Yeah, you're the standard.
Right.
That's the
So,
thing,
but
is that
they know they're going to make more money than anybody.
We're acting
Right.
like they're coming at it from the same perspective.
Of course not.
We are. Where it's like, oh, they had to bend the knee. No, for them, they're like, fuck yeah, more ticket sales on huge games, expanded playoff. That's one more SEC. You know, when we renegotiate the deal with whoever it is in a
Right.
few years, it's 9 games, so that's an
more
extra
weekend.
couple bill
Right.
or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
They were thrilled to do this.
And the SEC teams are now required to schedule at least one additional high-quality non-conference game from the Atlantic Coast, Big 10, or Big 12 conferences, or Notre Dame each season.
Or Notre Dame. That's so
See, that's
ridiculous.
it's laughable. But so now, like LSU's schedule this year, I mean, like look at that. LSU's schedule this year. If you were to change it to the 9-game, like I said, you would play Clemson is your high-quality non-conference team.
And it's very
you have
high quality.
your two Louisiana bye games with La Tech and Southeastern. Then you have a 9-game grueling SEC schedule after that.
In a row.
Yeah, you have no break. I mean, I guess you could maybe spend. I don't think so. Like it would be like
Think they had a bye week?
Well, of course they have bye week.
Yeah, I mean, still.
Oh, add another, maybe. But
But you're gonna add another, and then you're gonna have
more
4
playoff
playoffs
games.
on
Like
top
you're.
of that?
Well, I
Like-
mean, I wouldn't. Why wouldn't they play football into February? The NFL does.
I think that's where
Why wouldn't they?
that's
extend
where
the season?
that's where they have to be
wouldn't
careful.
Wouldn't there be
Right.
issues with
The NFL
being
is,
enrolled in college technically also. I mean, there's like
I don't care about that.
Well, I just don't know if that.
Yeah, no, I mean,
But yeah, they're gonna stay.
I mean, the
fuck am I
transfer
kidding?
portal and all these things, they don't
The transfer
care.
portal would just open up the first week of the playoff. You
Yeah,
know?
like, I mean-
or it does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
it opens up during the postseason. Penn State's backup quarterback entered the
Right.
portal, left the roster while they were about to make their playoff run.
because
Like,
that has to be for enrollment issues because the guys
Right,
have to be
right.
You know, in order to just
So-
this is
be
an
in the school.
absolute just
It's
shit
just-
show.
it's going to become a mess.
It's
Only
just-
more.
it's
And they
gonna-
have to be careful of how far they expand because
They're not.
There are, yeah, but I'm just
They're not
saying.
gonna be careful.
What I'm saying, like this viewership starts to leave whenever you get into NFL football and their playoffs. People, like regardless of what we feel about college football,
It's-
the country cares about the NFL.
Yeah, college football is still fundamentally, comparatively regional.
You're right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when I lived in Boston, I couldn't get a single person in my life to give a shining fuck about college football. They have 3 colleges up there, you know, that play D1 football.
What about the Patriots?
Right. It was just
Patriots, Red Sox.
That's the thing. Like, you can put the national championship game and the Super Bowl on the same day. I guarantee you I'll tell you who wins.
No.
Why do you think the NFL expanded to Christmas?
right.
Because they
They
knew
could.
they would
their
take
dick
viewers
out
away
and
from the NBA.
hit the NBA in the face with it,
Like, so,
you
I
know?
mean, like, they will forever win.
and it's
Fonz,
not fun to challenge them.
Yeah.
It's silly to challenge them.
No, they'll squish you like a bug.
Fonz in the chat, do y'all think BK sits back in his chair right now going, man, I could have stayed at Notre Dame for one more year and got NIL in this playoff and make it easier for me to win a championship?
Yep. He left a scenario in which he thought he was coming to an easier one, and then as time
And then
has moved
everything
on,
changed. The second he
Notre
got
Dame
there.
becomes the best job in the country.
It's 1,000. It's I'm not saying it's the easiest job in the country, but it's kind of the easiest job in the country.
Yeah.
Like
You
you're
have
not
no,
in
you
the
get
conference.
to operate outside of everyone else.
It's Oregon State in baseball. Like
Right.
their FPI RPI was loaded
Because they only played road games.
They only played road games. They cook the system. So don't forget, every single day we are brought to you by AJ Sports Cards there on Drusilla Lane. 3348 Drusilla Lane is the address for AJ Sports Cards. They've been taking care of us since we got Tingle & Co. up and running, so make sure you let them know how much you appreciate it. You can call them 225-831-4508. Ask them about their merchandise and everything they've got in store. Cards, packs, boxes, signed pictures, jerseys. They've got everything. And they've got some job availability if you're looking for that as well. If you want to start ripping packs open for 225 breakers, make sure call AJ Sports Cards 225-831-4508 or find them on Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, no, I mean, it's very interesting, and I guess the next conversation could be, who do you think LSU's 3 permanent opponents are? I would say Ole Miss is a lock.
Yeah.
Like, if I were to look at it right now, I would be very, very surprised if they don't keep Ole Miss on LSU's schedule. From there, it gets a little more difficult because I feel like there are a handful of teams that it's left with. I think you have Ole Miss, Alabama, Florida, Arkansas, and Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So you have 5 teams I feel like they're picking from for LSU's 3 scheduled. And really, in my opinion, that's a tough group of 5. Besides maybe, like, if you got dealt the hand of Alabama, Ole Miss, and A&M, I am not happy with that 3. That's a tough 3 to get. Because you know Alabama's going to get, Auburn, Tennessee. I mean, if they get Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU, that's another tough 3. Like, I don't see the SEC doing that to 2 of their premier teams. Like, I would say Alabama would maybe get Auburn, Tennessee, and, like, Vandy or somebody just to maybe take some off. So I'm interested who y'all think the 3 permanent opponents for LSU would be.
So like you said, I think Ole Miss is a lock because if anything, it's like there's a lack of natural predators in the area, you know? So I do a check mark there. Let's pretend that it's a fair world and we just want to keep the boot because it's the coolest fucking trophy in sports. You know, there's at least that used to be the Thanksgiving game, you know, like it really does have some history. And again, there's a lack of a natural rival there too.
Right.
So without their in-state thing, okay, so let's check that. What do you do from there? I mean, my instinct would have been A&M before Texas and OU got added.
Yeah.
But now I don't know if that makes sense for them, right? Because you also need to think about what's going to be scheduled for the other team. It's not just about us. Do they stick with Florida? I don't know.
Because I think Florida definitely has Georgia on their schedule, without a doubt. Like, Florida, Georgia is one of those that's going to stay.
Yeah. And they have Tennessee, right?
I don't have Tennessee. I would say they have Kentucky also. Florida, Kentucky.
That must be fucking nice.
And then I don't know who their third would be. I would say maybe LSU would be a possibility.
I mean,
I just feel like from a money standpoint, like, I get that the Saban thing is gone. Like Sabrion says, like, I get that the Saban storyline is no longer there.
But it always will be, though.
Right. Well, I'm just saying you're not promised with DeBoer that you're going to have the best talent year in, year out like you were promised when Saban was there. Mm-hmm. Because, like, when Saban was at Bama and LSU just kind of has the cheat code of recruiting the state of Louisiana, they always just end up with this electric NFL talent on their roster. It was consistently the most NFL talent on a field that you saw in college football all year. Like,
so
go back to 2019, that is two NFL football teams playing against one another.
Even if we were outclassed coaching-wise,
right,
the talent was still
comparable, 1,000%.
And that's why it was so frustrating, because then it came down to one thing: it's coaching, and that what used to be your coach. Like, the storyline was feeding families. But people still talk about. Like, T-Bob will still talk about 2011. He's like, that was the best football game that was ever played in terms of talent on talent, good on good. Like, when you go through the roster, it's like there was 35 NFL players out there.
And then they did it again
in 2019.
8 years later. And then you go to 2020, the 2022 game. Like, were Jaden Malik at the peak of their powers? No. But you can go down that list, and there's a whole lot of NFL talent on that field. B.J. Ojulari, Jaden Daniels, Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Malik Neighbors, Kayshawn Boutte, Bryce Young, Harold Perkins. Like, go down the list of these guys. Was that Jamison Williams or no? No, he was gone at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, just go down the list of the talent. Will Anderson, that was on the field at all times in that game. Like, to me, the SEC, I would just be surprised if they're like, you know what? We don't need the premier game in our league every single year, because, I mean, like, Alabama and Tennessee's become a more of a rivalry as of late, and Alabama and Auburn is always just this crazy game.
Yeah, they're not getting rid of the Iron Bowl, and that's the hang-up, right?
So like, would they give Alabama
Georgia instead?
Would they give Alabama a draw of Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU, or Auburn, Tennessee, and Georgia? Or do they help out their buddies in Tuscaloosa and toss them? You know what, Bama, you can have Mississippi State. You can play Mississippi State.
You get the Vandy game every year.
You can have Vandy every year.
Yeah, that's what like on the Wilson Alexander a couple of years ago. The expectation was LSU's 3 annual opponents would be Alabama, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. Was told whether or not that changes is TBD. That is fine with me, because Ole Miss will be fun every year. A&M.
I'd rather Arkansas than A&M. But
but I enjoy playing.
I would rather one.
Well, exchange one.
A bit of a breather.
I would swap out A&M for, like, I would like one that's like, you know what, it's
Kentucky.
Yeah, like just one of those, because I feel like Alabama's going to get that. Georgia's going to get Kentucky.
Every year there's a chance you could go 0-3
with that group right there, because
all right,
Bama,
miss Arkansas, that's
Ross Dellinger put out his guesses, which and Delly obviously is very plugged and has a good feel for it. He's got that same 3 for LSU. He's got Ole Miss, A&M, and Alabama.
But
this is a guess. It's not official, so he wants to make sure everyone knows it's official. He says, I'd expect any official list to differ from this, but perhaps not significantly. So
I thought that would have made more sense before Texas and OU got added in.
Well, because then, like, you would still have Texas would have Oklahoma, Arkansas, and A&M.
Uh-huh.
Oklahoma would have Texas, Missouri, and Florida, which the Florida one doesn't make sense to me for Oklahoma. Why would Florida and OU play? South Carolina, those make sense. Florida, Auburn, Tennessee. Like, for Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and I don't understand why, like, Oklahoma doesn't. I guess they just needed a spot.
Yeah, I mean, some of these teams aren't supposed to be here, really. You know, it's like
Ole Miss would have Mississippi State, LSU, and Vandy. Like, it's a layup.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get at least one win every year. Like, if they go 0-3 against Mississippi State, LSU, and Vanderbilt, something went wrong, and you're just not good. I would just be surprised if they're going to give Alabama the hand of the Iron Bowl, Tennessee, and LSU.
Yeah, the two biggest losers on this list are LSU and Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just a victim of their own success.
Georgia's playing Auburn, Florida, and Kentucky. Like that, they're back to having the easiest schedule in the SEC. Like that, almost is back to SEC East, SEC West, and Georgia gets the draw. And
that's why, to me, like I get why they have Auburn and Florida on there. Those should stay. Georgia should get one more tough one.
Yeah, because the consistency of Auburn and Florida isn't real. Like they can have good teams, but they're not a threat every single year.
There are ebbs and flows with they're not like the cream of the crop. You've got a big four: Georgia, Texas, Alabama, and LSU.
And that fourth spot can say LSU, but it rotates between. Like you're at the dance, but you're not what. There's a big three for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. You know,
LSU
and I mean, of the history of the SEC, like the last 20 years, that big three is Georgia,
Alabama,
Bama, LSU. But now Texas being added, they're obviously a premier program. So it's going to be interesting to see how they end up doing it because someone's going to get dealt a tough hand, a tough one.
And a tough hand for 3 decades, probably.
It's a part of that report where Ross Dellinger is kind of laying out how they're expected to choose the 3 permanent teams. The league was expected to choose a team's 3 permanent opponents based on primary and secondary rivalries, geographical footprint, and most importantly, balance and parity. The conference is using a 10-year success metric to strike the fairest blend of permanent opponents for each team, Saban says. They said they did a 10-year whatever. I love him. Their coach says, well, some of those years, Tennessee wasn't as good as they've been in the previous 10 years, but now they're as good as they used to be before that 10 years. We got 3 teams, and 2 of them are in the top 10, and the other is in the top 10 a lot. I think he's talking about LSU.
Yeah.
Saban continues, look historically over a 25-year history. The 3 best teams in the East are Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida. We look historically at the 25 years. Alabama, LSU, and Auburn are the 3 best teams in the West, so we're playing them all. The SEC's exact 10-year metric is unclear, but using league records from 2013 to 2022, the top half finishers in winning percentage are Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, LSU, Florida, Texas, Auburn, A&M. The bottom half is Missouri, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Tennessee, South Carolina, Kentucky, Arkansas, and Vanderbilt. Big 12 records were used for OU and Texas, so that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Presumably, those in the top half of the conference over the last decade of success will play 2 other teams in the top half and 1 in the bottom half. Those in the bottom half will play 2 in the bottom and 1 in the top half. So take that for what you will.
And you know what my biggest takeaway from that is? Put that man in charge.
Nobody knows the league and the SEC better.
He has dissected each team, each program, every region, everything. He's thought about it all over the last 30 years.
He has a 25-year history because he's been in the SEC for 25 years.
Right, and he knows Alabama like the back of his hand. He knows LSU. The 2 premier programs outside of Georgia, he knows like the back of his hand. And when you go back and you look at that image, and you look at, you're telling me Ole Miss is the bottom half of the conference? And I know they have been for the last 10 years, but that Grove Collective and Lane Kiffin say different for the next 10.
The last 5 years.
Right.
Like, Ole Miss is a program that is on the rise.
And
then
while
they don't have national championship success, they've been on the outside looking in the last 3 years.
Tennessee and South Carolina. That's the bottom half of the conference. Maybe over the last 10. Not in the future that I'm looking at right now. No. Because they recruited at a high level and they've done such an excellent job. It's an interesting metric to go off of, especially when 2 of the teams weren't even in your conference. You're giving Oklahoma the benefit of the doubt with a 78.2 score, and they played a Big 12 schedule for a decade.
For 25 years.
So, look, I mean, it's going to be interesting to keep watching.
But that's where,
as time goes on.
I wonder how much they weigh that Oklahoma score and the Texas score, because you're essentially putting Texas as almost a bottom half team.
Right, and they're not.
They're not. Oklahoma's not a top half team. So if you set it up using that metric, somebody's going to get the benefit of the doubt of getting to play Oklahoma, and they're considered a top team.
Yeah.
And they're not. Look what happened in 2019.
No, no. I mean, it's going to be.
No, Alabama's of the caliber of your Floridas and your Auburns. You know, it's the teams that can bounce up every couple years, but
Who?
they're not a.
What team? Oklahoma?
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said Alabama, so I'm just.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
No.
Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you. It was a slip
So
up.
when people
But-
get lost.
No. Yeah, but I mean, like they're not a.
They're not a top-ranked program.
No,
They're not. They're certainly not third in the SEC
They can
in winning percentage.
They can pop up and be scary for a couple years at a time, but
Yeah, like I'd relish the chance to play Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, like, if they want to make that a rivalry, I'm
I'm
it.
for it.
Like, come on.
And they're trying to.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. Like they're trying to find something for LSU. Mm-hmm. And so it's gonna be interesting to see how that
And
continues to go
LSU
down.
is absolutely Oklahoma's boogeyman.
Yeah, I mean, they're-
2003, you take a national championship from them, or they thought that they were.
Right.
that would be so fun, honestly.
And then 2019, they show up again and just like you thought you playoff. Yeah, you like this is what it looks like, buddy.
Yeah, I mean,
And then last year,
meet your maker.
you come into Death Valley.
thought you had it. You thought you killed Garrett Nussmeier, and he
Turns in his golden
revived
cloak
and wrecked your program.
and 2 Percocet, and he was ready to roll, brother.
Yeah, I was rocking that.
And then
Put
so,
that
like-
tore it all right in that collarbone.
And so Oklahoma has like been just LSU has been their daddy,
Yeah.
and so I'm all for having
For lack of a
Oklahoma
better
permanently.
term.
Yes,
No, I'm with you.
but like you look at that when you look at like the expanded playoff, you were talking about. I can name 8 teams. Like
You mean to name the 8 right now?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the
that
top
will,
10.
that can win a national championship. Texas, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon, Alabama, LSU. I think that was 8.
Yep, and
Like I think Miami and Penn State aren't really there yet.
like it would take a run from South Carolina or Florida. So that's why you have those.
Right.
You see what the year looks like, and those would be the fun stories.
Yeah, like Notre Dame's a lock. Ohio State's a lock. Like those are locks to get in. Mm-hmm. And
Penn
once
State.
you're in, you have a chance, especially if you're one of those programs. Like Ohio State coasted through their season last year. Coasted through it. They were like, you know what? They tried to win the Oregon game. They didn't matter. They dropped to Michigan, and then they just get into the playoff, and look what they did. They dismantle every team they faced.
And if you're Oregon, you're like, we got shafted. We're the
Of course
number
you
one.
did.
We're the number 1 team in the country with a bye.
Right.
And it's
right.
Ole Miss. I mean, it's
Ohio
State.
State.
on the other side of the bread. Oh, we had to play the national championship team. Like, what was the point of running through our season?
Right. So it's gonna be very interesting to continue to watch as time goes on. Look, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna get set up to go through this offensive line breakdown as we close out the offensive position groups for LSU versus Clemson right after this.
Wardos was created in honor of Alan Ward Branning III, fondly known by family and friends as Wardo. In 2019, the oldest brother of the tribe passed away unexpectedly. His remaining siblings and loved ones wanted to honor his memory in a special way. In 2022, Ward's family decided to combine the need for a sandwich shop in downtown Natchez with a desire to pay tribute to Ward's love of good friends, good times, and great food. Through blood, sweat, tears, and countless hours of hard work, Wardo's was born. So go visit Wardo's today at 309 North Broadway Street in Natchez, where the po' boys are so good, you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
Hey, Miss Lou, come visit us, Tom and Wright Branding at Go Martin on the Go Deli.
Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need.
Located at the corner of Highland Boulevard and Highway 61 South in Natchez.
Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff.
Where everyone is family.
All right, we didn't get into the 2 claps in the first, I guess, hour of the show. As my time is all thrown off because it's not 8 a.m. So I'm not expecting it to be hour number 2. But we've got some 2 claps this morning, and I'm just gonna leave it with one. Only one of the ones that I've put down is going to get clapped for this morning, as our guy, the legend himself, Kent Broussard, Tiger Tuba Kent, made a special announcement yesterday as he made the Golden Band from Tigerland. Our friend that came and sat with us after LSU won the national championship in baseball, he came in and he sat right in this chair next to me, and he told the story of why he decided to enroll back in college as a 60-plus-year-old man and try out for the Golden Band from Tigerland, and not just play the flute or the clarinet or the trumpet, to carry a big old tuba around and put in the effort from a health perspective to make it happen. And man, that man deserves 4 claps. 4 claps. Ready. Tiger Tuba Kent, man.
That is
4 claps for the 4 notes, as he's going to be marching on Death Valley's field this season, man. It's going to be awesome. And I guess at some point when he gets out of class next week, he's going to come to the studio, hang out with us, and give us the rundown. There he is, working hard out in the streets. Our guy, Tiger Tuba Kent.
That is so cool.
Absolute legend, man. If you didn't see our interview with him, make sure you go back and check it out. It was right at the end of June. We got back from Omaha when LSU beat Coastal Carolina for that national title.
I still don't get why this isn't a much bigger story.
I think it's about to pop.
Yeah.
From everything I've kind of heard, and people have reached out and seen the interview has started to grow.
It's got
in
game
some
day
numbers
feature written all over it.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be getting some attention down the line, and
good.
I really appreciated Kent. His daughter Lauren, as Kent shot his daughter Lauren shot us a text yesterday and said, "Hey, he made the band." She said, "Dad wanted me to text you and Lloyd first." And I was like, "Man, that means everything." And he's very excited to come back in studio and hang out with us and talk about his next journey, as he's achieved his lifelong dream of being a part of the Golden Band from Tigerland. He said when he sat with us last time, make sure to go check out the interview. But if you haven't seen it, he sat and he was like, "For my entire life, I've dreamed of this. And why, just because I'm retired, does that mean I need to sit in a chair for the rest of my days and just hang out at home when I'm in good health and I can get up and go make my dreams a reality?" It was a beautiful story. If you didn't see it, go back and check it out on our YouTube channel here on Tingle & Co. and be ready for next week when we get him back in studio. Tiger Tuba Kent, 2 more claps. Ready. Absolute legend, and I cannot wait to see him play that tuba in Death Valley. Like, that might be the highlight of my season, is watching him on the field in Tiger Stadium playing that tuba.
How many tubists are in the band?
I'm not sure how many tubists there are, but I know there's only one that's going to be 60-plus years old.
Yeah.
An incoming freshman named Kent Broussard. Absolute legend, man. And this was such a good post. Like, you know what the kids call that, Lloyd? Call that aura.
Aura.
Mm-hmm. That's aura. Good job. You're young.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, that's aura. I mean, what am I going to say on what should I post on Instagram to let everybody know I made the team?
I made it. I mean, you talk about, walking through the tunnel of Death Valley is going to be electric, but his first trip down Victory Hill,
man,
with the band,
I cannot wait to see him.
Hammered, drunken, Tuba Kent, pour a beer down the tuba.
Yeah, take a sip of this.
Do we know what he's majoring in?
That's the update.
Yeah, no, we'll get to I guess we'll
But
find
he
out.
does have, that's the funniest part.
He's
like,
a non-matriculating student.
The story is unbelievable, and the idea and the have to that he made this commitment to. I want to play in the Golden Band from Tigerland. It's unbelievable, and then the realization of I have to go to school.
Yeah,
I
have to go to class.
I've already done that.
It only just lets you hang out.
Right, like school. I mean, he still has to do the school stuff.
Right,
because he's a student.
Yeah, no, I mean he's non-matriculating. So that means he's not gonna have. I don't think he's gonna have to walk all through campus and all the. But
I would.
Yeah, to get the full experience. But I'm excited to get him back in studio next week and talk to him in game week. Tiger Tuba Kent, shout out, congratulations to our guy, our friend. Tiger Tuba Kent, new member of the Golden Band from Tigerland. All right, let's get into the final offensive position group this week. As we have taken every single day, we have gone through and broke down a position group a day. Quarterbacks on Monday, running backs Tuesday, wide receivers on Wednesday, tight ends yesterday, and today we've got the offensive line breakdown, which, like I said, for both teams, probably the most talked about position group, and for two different reasons. The names from left to right on the LSU offensive line, you've got Tyree Adams, DJ Chester, Braylon Moore, Josh Thompson, Weston Davis. And then behind them, you've got Carius Kern, Cohen Eccles, Paul Mabenga, Bo Bordelon. Those are the guys that are all going to be mixing in, fighting for some jobs. For Clemson, I went down a 7-man list as Dabo met with the media, and he said they're going to have a 7-man rotation on that offensive line. Tristan Lee, Colin Sadler, Ryan Linthicum, Walker Parks, Blake Miller, Elijah Thurman, Harris Sewell. Those are the 7 guys I have. And you have some additional ones, right, Jonathan?
Yeah.
On top of those 7?
Yep.
You want to drop their names?
Yeah, we have, let's see, Braden Jacobs, who is a highly rated 6'7", 310
True freshman?
True freshman, elite prospect. Easton Ware, who's getting snaps at guard, who's 6'5", 280. And then we got 3 more guys that are going to get some run. Pennington, Pendergrass, Howard, all kind of guard center guys. But Pennington, 6'5", 350.
Wow.
I mean, they got a few guys that have some
large man.
some beef. And then you said Thurman, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
LSU's offensive line, just some size to hit you with. Tyree Adams, 6'7", 310 pounds. Carius Kern, 6'5", 335. DJ Chester, 6'6", 320. Paul Mabenga, 6'5", 315. Braylon Moore, 6'2", 300. Cohen Eccles, 6'3", 316. Josh Thompson is 6'5", 301. Bo Bordelon, 6'6", 305. Weston Davis, 6'6", 317. And then what were you about to say?
it's just funny you should bring it up because I have some stats.
Let's hear it.
LSU averages out at 6'5", 2 and 312 pounds.
Yep.
Clemson, 6'5", just a hair over, 309.
Okay.
Interesting backup stat. LSU is actually one of the biggest losers in terms of weight average, dropping down from last season when we averaged 331.
Oh, wow.
We're down to 312 now. And hey, do you know who has the biggest line in college football?
Clemson.
No.
Oh, who does it?
Texas fucking State.
Wow.
6'5", 341 average.
I mean, 341 average.
I just had to put that
Crazy.
in there when I saw
Means
it.
they've got a handful of 350 guys,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. Texas
Impressive.
State. I don't know what they're doing over there, but
Good
and
food.
then the size on Clemson's line, I'll do the rundown, and then you can hit me with those averages.
sure.
Tristan Lee, 6'6", 310. Elijah Thurman, 6'4", 325. Harris Sewell, 6'4", 310. Ryan Linthicum is 6'3", 305. Walker Parks, 6'5", 310. Colin Sadler, 6'6", 310. Blake Miller, 6'6", 315. Braden Jacobs, 6'7", 355, like Jonathan said. And your averages over there for
And the averages over there are 6'5", right on the nose, 309.
309, 6'5", and 309. So,
But 2 real big beefy boys in the backup in the back kind of half
yes.
of the rotation.
Yeah, Braden Jacobs, 6'7", 355. Dietrich Pennington, 6'5", 355. That's some girth there.
What you
behind
like?
them.
You like length, you like girth.
There you go. That's what I heard Hugh Freeze said.
This is a rep from Miller. Look at the far right of your screen. He's at
Yep.
right tackle. You're go ahead and take him to the club.
Yep. I put a star next to Mr. Blake Miller for Clemson. But I'm gonna start with LSU's line first. Some of the key storylines. I said there's 1.5 players with SEC experience, really 2, but I put 1.5 because Mabenga was only spot play here and there. DJ Chester is your only offensive lineman in this room with SEC experience. You've got 2 key transfers. Both have been named starters. Obviously, Braylon Moore at center and Josh Thompson at guard. And then in all caps, I put big shoes to fill as you've had a very, very good offensive line at LSU for the last 3 years. And 4 of those guys were drafted last offseason. So you're filling some pretty big shoes. The stars that I put on this LSU offensive line, I put a star next to two different names, starting with Braylon Moore, as I watched some film in his Vandy game last year and the game against Miami. I said he was smart. He is undersized, but he's smart, aware. He's a very good athlete. He gets up to that second level. He can move well. And in all caps, I put important. LSU went out in the transfer portal and brought Braylon Moore in for a very, very specific reason, because he was needed. N-E-E-D-E-D, needed, is what Braylon Moore was. You needed a center to come in and solve the issues you saw that you had last season if you're LSU. A lot of weight on Garrett Nussmeier's shoulders, pre-snap, at the line, all of those things. You were young at the center position. You saw some issues from a blocking standpoint up the middle. And DJ Chester was a large center, as he, like I said, he was 6'5", 320.
Yeah.
And now even though he's smaller, but DJ wasn't a true center. He played left tackle in high school, played some guard. He's very versatile, but wasn't a true center. Braylon Moore is. Played center all year last year, was at guard before that, is used to the interior of the O-line, and obviously has a year of Power 4 experience at the center spot. Jonathan, your thoughts on Braylon Moore?
Braylon Moore is the single most important player in this position group. I think Adams is the best player in this position group, like you said, but I don't think this doesn't work without Moore pulling the strings. The rest of the guys, I don't know if we want to get into this quite yet. If I were to look at just the talent in the room versus us in Clemson, I'd say that we probably have better athletes, bigger guys, more guys with high-end pro potential.
Yeah.
And he's the guy that's going to be in charge of harnessing all
Yes. Brian Kelly talked about it. He said that he's seen a lot of offensive lines, this, that, and the other, when he talked about putting guys in the NFL, and he said it starts with number 61, Braylon Moore. He said that when he looks at this offensive line, the first step to them being good is being in the right spot and being organized, and that's the center's job. And that is huge because Braylon Moore's done a great job there. You've seen the communication in fall camp. And on top of that, the snaps have been clean. Like, I know that can be something that can be glossed over and forgotten about, can fly under the radar. The snaps have been clean. They've been in Nussmeier's hands, that you haven't seen it snapped over that. Anytime you've seen a bad snap, it has not been Braylon Moore snapping the football.
Yeah, it's one of those things you take for granted, like a guy that nails your extra points. You know what I mean? Like, you think it's just that's what's supposed to happen until it becomes
an issue,
and then you go, holy shit, how did we have something so fundamental
go wrong?
Yeah, go wrong.
Lloyd, your thoughts on LSU center Braylon Moore?
I defer.
Tyree is going to be our starting left tackle.
I
think there's still a battle between Paul and Cohen Eccles, for one of the guard positions. Justin has nailed down one of the guard positions. Braylon has nailed down the center. Excuse me, the center position. And I think there's still a battle for that next tackle position, which would be the right tackle. So we moved Carius over there to compete with Weston to see. I think there's to compete with Weston to see who's our best, and maybe it's both of them, Matt. More than anything else, we wanted to see that maybe it's a combination or maybe it's one or the other. There wasn't enough competition there. We feel like Ori's coming along, but he wasn't there yet, so we wanted to create a little bit more competition at that right tackle position. Does that make sense?
Real quick, you didn't mention DJ Chester on the offensive line. Is he still in the mix for?
Yes, in some ways it's a disservice to him because we got him playing center guard. He's playing a little bit of right tackle. He's competing for a starting position as well. But we can't put them all out there. So somebody's going to have to be in a rotational position, whether it's Paul or Cohen or DJ. Weston or Carius, those are the guys that are all going to eventually play. I don't think you're just going to see 5 guys trotting out there every single play. I think you're going to see some other guys definitely getting in the game as well. Tyree is going to be our starting left tackle.
One guy you do know that will be charting out there every single play is Braylon Moore.
Yeah.
And I've emphasized this before, and you saw it last year with a freshman center in the SEC and how much stress that added to Garrett Nussmeier's life. I think that's why one of the first people you got out the portal was Braylon Moore.
Right.
And I think there was a huge emphasis on that to be able to take some things off Nussmeier's plate. Because when you go back and watch and you go back and kind of remember the 2024 season, a lot of timeouts, a lot of the clock running down, a lot of Garrett Nussmeier trying to make last-second decisions. And that becomes, with those, it becomes very easy for a defensive line to be able to time up and sync up and be able to rush the passer, get off the line quickly because there's no time left. You can't do anything other than snap the football. And so when that thing starts to go down, it makes your offensive line's job much harder. And now to have Braylon Moore, somebody that can help diagnose who the Mike linebacker is, if you're on my left or my right, you have a question, I can answer it. And so I think that is the biggest and most important addition to the offensive line is what you got at center.
And I think on that front, it also puts handcuffs on the scheme, on the plays that you can call, because you don't know if your quarterback is I'm talking about last season.
Right.
If he's fully available to make the checks he needs to make this play successful. And so then you maybe kind of condense your play call sheet and the things you're willing to run, which is why Braylon Moore has important in all capital letters right next to his name.
My daddy used to say you can't have a strip club without a pole. He didn't.
And you mean by that what?
I just made that phrase up. But Braylon Moore's the pole in the strip club. The other guys can't dance, can't make their money.
I really don't.
Unless
I don't
he's
hate
there
that
in the middle.
analogy. I don't hate it.
It's correct. I did just make it up, but
there you go.
My dad would have said it.
Next name I want to talk about on LSU's offensive line, Tyree Adams is the next player with a star next to his name. I went back and watched the Baylor game, just some clips from it last season. Obviously, I didn't have the full game to go back and break down, but I went and just watched some of the tidbits. A lot of it were the successful plays for LSU, and I will say I thought he played excellent in that football game. I went back and watched it, and I was very, very impressed. Some of the things I put next to his name is, one, he's large. He's a very, very big human. Which is, was he 6'7", 310? He's a big guy. We've talked about it many times. Strong. I put arms in all cap because what I really liked when I saw him, and look, I'm not an offensive line guru. I don't really know what I'm talking about. When he is extended, he gets his hands on the defender and his arms are extended. He's strong. Where he's not too loose and he is strong. Like, they're not moving. He's stonewalled some good defensive ends for that Baylor defense. He's very athletic. I thought he's very good at the point of attack, kind of like what I was talking about. And I thought in that game he looked excellent in pass pro. Like in pass protection for Garrett Nussmeier, he looked really, really good. And I was impressed with what I saw from Tyree Adams. And I think, kind of like Jonathan said, he's the best player on this line. Like, best player. Like, maybe not the most important. He's second most important.
Yeah.
He's the best player, the best talent. He was brought in, a high-rated recruit out of high school. He was a 4-star. He was the number 2 O-lineman in the state of Louisiana behind Zalance Hurd, who obviously ends up transferring to Tennessee. Tyree Adams was very, very highly recruited out of St. Aug, and he was brought here to be a bookend tackle once Emory and Will were gone. And it just came down to if he was going to be on the right side because Lance was here, or if he was going to be on the left side without Lance here. It ends up being on the left side. And I thought he won the job in the Baylor game, but really I thought he was destined to be LSU's left tackle from far before then. Jonathan and Lloyd, y'all's thoughts on Tyree Adams?
You know, I mean, like you said, the Baylor game showed us so much. So I think that there's a level of comfort with him, which is nice. You know, it's I'm happy that there are 2 guys on this line that we are very confident can play. And then he's got everything that you want at that position, right? I mean, you can't teach 6'7", 310. You can't teach nimble feet. You can't teach big animal arms.
Can't teach size.
You know,
you can't. He's strong.
He's
big.
Some guys are big. Some guys are quick.
And he's technically sound. He's not one of these guys that just completely relies on the fact that he's bigger and stronger than everybody. I mean, look at it. He can't even get under the tent.
Can't fit under the tent.
But he's not just relying on the fact that he's big. He's also very technically sound. I like what I saw from the point of attack in pass pro with him.
You can tell he sat behind guys like Campbell.
Yes, he learned. He was a sponge.
And with all of that said, all the potential in the world, correct? And you've seen a small sample size of him against Baylor. It's hard to have an upgrade at that position from what you just had for
You
3
won't.
years.
You
So
won't.
yeah, I'm just saying. So like that, while
Yeah.
the expectation for him to come in and replace Will Campbell, he has to technically. They're taking his spot,
Right.
but he will not be Will Campbell. And what you got, Will Campbell was, I mean,
Generational talent.
Yeah, it's the best tackle we've had since.
I mean, he came in as a true freshman and
03,
was,
you know.
got his face ran through once,
never again.
never
again.
looked back.
But-
So,
And so like, well, that's all. I just want to set the expectation
I'm
of
glad-
when you
I'm
didn't
glad
give
you
up
did.
a sack at left tackle for 3 years, you might give up one.
right, especially when you're matched up against some really good defensive lines they're going to see this year.
But he is an elite level talent.
Yes.
We're not coming in with
Yes.
a guy that
it's
is.
just he's not at his ceiling yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where the floor, like where he's starting, because he looked really good in that Baylor game when you go back and watch it. Next, Josh Thompson, the other transfer guy they went out and got. I watched his snaps against Duke last year. One thing I saw in that game, which is my biggest point, my biggest takeaway from that game, is he was blocking for one Mike Wright at quarterback, who was once at Vanderbilt, ended up at Northwestern last season. He's a mobile guy. Like, he's a runner. He can move well. He runs. He's very, very willing to tuck it and go. And then the guy, I think Lausch was his name that they ended up playing there, he was still somewhat of a runner as well. He was mobile. I wouldn't say a runner. He was mobile as well.
This is just Tyree in
Yeah,
high school.
I mean, this is at St. Aug in New Orleans. I mean, just an absolute freak of nature. But on the Josh Thompson front, that was my biggest takeaway, was that he blocked for a mobile quarterback last year. That is not the case anymore. He is transferring from Northwestern, where he blocked for Mike Wright and Lausch, who were somewhat mobile, especially Wright. In this game versus Duke, that's who I saw him. That's who I saw behind center. Garrett Nussmeier is not that. And so when you look at Josh Thompson, a lot of things they've talked about a lot is he has very, very low sack numbers, sacks given up. And like we've said, sacks are not always on the offensive line. A lot of times it can be on the quarterback holding onto the football. Here he is at right guard, number 56 right there. The words I have next to him, I said mobile quarterback, obviously. That's the biggest change for me. And the thing I'm most interested in seeing with Josh Thompson is he's going from blocking for guys that are more willing to run than Garrett Nussmeier is. And so what will that look like? The other things I put next to him, he's obviously very experienced. He's got strong hands. So when he gets his hands on you, like right there, he's got strong hands. Like, he's quick with his hands. He'll get him there, and like he grabs hold, and he's strong. He's got strong hands. Next up after that, his leverage, I put a question mark by. I thought he played a little straight up at times, and he ended up on his back a handful of times in that Duke game that Northwestern played. But he looked good as a run blocker. He got to the second level well. I do have some concerns after watching him, because he's not the best athlete. He's not the quickest. Like I say, he's got strong hands, but that doesn't always mean he's going to be the first at the point of attack, like I thought Tyree Adams was. I think there are a lot of expectations for him to be very, very good this year. I'm going to be interested to see the change from being at Northwestern with quarterbacks that can move a little bit better than going up against SEC defensive lines with a pocket passer at quarterback. How with the leverage I saw yesterday when I watched this film, I had some concerns on how he will do in pass blocking coverage when he is backpedaling in pass pro and he's not able to get ahead of steam like that and go get his hands on it. He's kind of at the mercy of the defender of got to be good at the point of attack, which I thought Tyree Adams was very good at. I didn't see the same thing from Josh Thompson.
It's not imposing his will in
Right.
pass protection. So for me, it seemed like a lot of the scouting reports I read about him when we first signed him were really glowing. Mm-hmm. You know, it was like, this is an NFL, you know, like a second-day pick maybe potentially type of guy if he puts it together. He has a ton of experience. Obviously, he was brought in because we had trouble run blocking last year, right?
Yep.
And that's what this guy does. Like you said, though, the film hasn't quite been congruent to what the scouting reports necessarily said. Yeah, it's one that I don't think that I can really comment on until we see him out there. Honestly, like I was a little underwhelmed by some of it, but there's a lot to say about a guy that is there to run block, has a ton of experience. Is a big boy.
0 sacks. Like that's not all the quarterback.
Yeah.
It's not. And Nussmeier, although he's not a runner, and he's a pocket passer, he's good at manipulating the pocket. So he's going to make the offensive line play better than they do. And so I'm interested to see what Thompson looks like because I do think it'll be an adjustment. I don't know how good it's going to look week 1.
And, it also could be a case if he has more talent on his right and left side than,
right.
And
I only watched one game
of
film. It was Duke. It was the second game of the season. And so things could have changed. Like that's the thing. Like I only watched one game of film against Duke, second game of the year. There's obviously much more to it. And that 0 sack number is not fake. Yes, does it help having a mobile quarterback and a runner back there? Yeah, of course it helps. Jane Daniels didn't get sacked all that much because guess what happened when the guys got there? He tucked it and he was gone. But I think there's going to be some growing pains. Not growing pains. It's not going to look perfect, especially game 1. Like it's not going to be maybe as clean as you would expect from a guy with as much experience as he has. But next on the list, DJ Chester. I went back and I watched his film against Florida and A&M. Does anyone want to wonder why I chose those games?
What you'll be playing against?
One, those were 2 losses. And the Florida game, there were a lot of sacks. He gave up. LSU, Nussmeier got sacked 6 times in that game. And they were road games. I thought they were very big in his growth as a football player. But like I said, he made the change from center to guard this year. And like BK said, even working at right tackle some. They're taking a lot of things off his plate, which I think is necessary. Played left tackle in high school. He's very strong up top. He's got to work on his base. But he's versatile, can play any position. And he had similar leverage issues to what I saw from Josh Thompson, where he would get pushed back a little bit. There are a lot of times where he kind of ended up in Garrett Nussmeier's lap because he was able to get moved backwards. And that, to me, comes from bad leverage and a weak base. Jonathan?
Well, also, I think a lot of what we saw with him could be kind of contributed to that not being his natural position, right? So if he's there and he's not 100% comfortable snapping the ball back, it can be hard to maybe show just your natural blocking talent, right? Because you're kind of on your back foot a lot of the time. So, like you said, there's the versatility, the size is definitely still there. It could be a case where if you move him over, take something off his plate,
right? Maybe
there's an elite guy, but it's hard to say without having seen it. Yep. The guards make me a little anxious.
Yeah. I agree.
But I like the depth behind them. So we can touch on.
I see the potential in DJ Chester. I think he will be much better with things off his plate.
Yes.
1,000%. And speaking of that Florida game, that I also watched that game for film of another offensive lineman, and that's one Paul Mabanga. When I watched that Florida game, I felt better about DJ Chester than I did about Paul Mabanga walking away from it. Mabanga got his lunch money taken in that football game. He got absolutely dominated. He's a very good athlete. He had pretty good leverage, but he just was not, I don't think, physically ready for that yet. He got pushed around. Like it made DJ Chester's job hard. Like when I looked at that game, Mabanga was the takeaway of he didn't look very good. I hope this offseason he dedicated to being in the weight room, which I think most of them did because he was easily moved last year. And that has to improve for him to be effective for LSU.
Also had, I'm forgetting his name now, but that 340 nose
Desmond
tackle.
Watson.
Yeah.
They had some dogs in that line, and that's part of why they have high expectations this year.
Yeah, and that was about as tough of the middle of a defensive line as you're going to have to face. But the fact that they got thrown around,
right,
ain't what you want to see.
No, not at all.
So. I don't really know what else to say there.
One guard that when I watched the film I did feel good about, and maybe you can say that I'm biased because he came in here and he sat right next to me and gave a great interview. Cohen Eccles looked really good in the Baylor game. I went back and, like I said, I watched the Baylor game for film on Tyree Adams and and obviously Cohen Eccles and Bill Borderline as well. But Cohen Eccles, he played with really good leverage. Like I say, he's versatile. He's smart. He was the smartest offensive lineman in high school. That's why they moved him to center. And then he looked really good in pass protection and run blocking. I put a little baby star next to Cohen Eccles because I think he's going to be in your best 5 at some point because he looked in that Baylor game. Like I said, one game of film, wasn't a top-tier SEC opponent. Looked really good in that Baylor game.
He's got some nastiness to him.
Which is crazy because he was such a nice guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, just like so I think kind of something that maybe Thompson and Mbenga to more of an extent, they're kind of lacking that like anger.
That nasty streak.
A mean streak.
Yeah, that just like fuck you kind of blocking. I think there's some more of that kind of natural instinct from him.
Yeah.
You think that's right?
No, I'm with you. I really liked what I saw from Cohen Eccles in that game. He looked really, really solid. If you go back and you watch that Baylor game, he looked really good.
And I think you're right. I think there's a really good chance that he's...
Yeah. Weston Davis is next.
And I will
What'd you
defer to Cohen Eccles here.
Yeah.
Whenever he said, that's him right there.
Yeah.
With the way that he was talking about himself.
Right.
And what he kind of like, he knows that he's unproven. But the way he was talking as if he feels like he's going to be a legitimate part of the offensive line.
Yeah, definitely. Weston Davis, a.k.a. Weston Banks. Athlete, man. Like a legitimate athlete. Like not an offensive lineman. He's an athlete. Which, this is a very, for LSU, one takeaway from the group of the offensive line, very athletic group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very
that's
athletic.
why the weight's down.
Right. And these next two are kind of freak athletes I'm going to talk about, Davis now, Kern after. Weston Davis is a young football player. He started playing as a sophomore in high school. And you know why? It's because he was a basketball player before that. So he's one of those guys that was late to the party and ended up being the number 3 offensive tackle via On 3 in his high school recruiting class.
Those are my favorite guys.
Very large man. It moves well. Like I say, he's an athletic. He's a fluid athlete. And he's got really, really good potential. Is 2025 his season? We'll see. I really like the clay that he is to be molded. But is it ready now? We shall see. Jonathan?
I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I think that there's something to be said with the fact that he is, there's kind of been talk of other guys maybe looking at guard in the last week or so, right? They've kind of been moving guys around, but he's been pretty much holed into that spot since camp started, right? And hasn't been a lot of noise around him not having the job.
Right, until that last presser when it was brought up. Right.
Yeah, but, I'm just, how much can you take away from, a guy you haven't seen play that much? I'm just going to
No, I'm with you.
use the context clues.
I didn't have any film.
And it's like you said, I mean, I'm always for a basketball man that turns into a giant football man.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite types of football men.
I'm with you.
So,
next, Carius Kern, the guy he's in competition with for that right tackle spot. Speaking of athlete, this guy's a freak of nature. He is a once-in-a-lifetime sort of athlete. And you want to talk about a mean streak. Carius Kern, when I was reading some of the recruiting reviews of him, the word violent was used a lot. Maybe not like a violent person, but on the football field and the way he did things, he was a violent attacker. And he also played offensive line and defensive line.
Yeah.
Because he's that good of an athlete. And they said he would have been a blue-chip prospect at either position. And here is this once-in-a-generation athlete. Was it squatting 425? Mm-hmm. No, benching 425. Scratch that. Squatting 425. Who cares about that? Let's just go ahead and get this weight off the bar and watch what he does. I think that's Cohen Eccles spotting him. Tyree Adams watching there on the side. Braylon Moore joining him. Easy. I mean, it's like a knife through butter. Hot knife through butter. So Carius Kern, he can run. He's agile. He's got a mean streak to him. He's violent on the field. He's a freak of nature. He's going to be an NFL offensive lineman. Mm-hmm. Is he part of LSU's best 5 in 2025? Nobody knows because hopefully somebody knows. Brad Davis specifically. He's a true freshman. And you heard Brian Kelly talk about him. What did he say, Lloyd?
Physically, he's ready.
He's ready. There's just a few things I got to get.
And
put
that
together.
was like day one of Brian Kelly looking at him.
That
Like,
was
he's one of the most
signing day.
physically impressive human beings I've ever seen.
That was before he even made it to campus.
I put one word next to him. Inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with it.
Like,
I like that a lot.
It might take a second, but that's a bad dude. And you don't get a lot of guys, regardless of position, that you say are inevitable. It's one of my favorite descriptors
Oh my gosh, I
of a
almost
guy
killed
that's
his teammates
so
right
elite,
there.
right?
Yeah.
Like Pickett.
Yes,
Fucking
inevitable, right.
You know, Jamar Chase and George Jefferson in the NFL, those dudes are inevitable, right? They're going to get their number. They're going to do their thing. He seems to me like he's that type of player where it's it's just a matter of time before he's dominant.
No, I'm with you. He's a freak, man. I can't wait to see what the future holds.
He is fucking
for him. Is this
mean.
Central High School? It's got Central High School's field.
Look at him. It's
Also, just a sick fucking name.
Yeah, no, it's an
Carries,
awesome name.
Fuck yeah, dude.
No, I mean his mama call him Carrots. I'm gonna call him Carrots.
he feels it very much. He has intent of making
Yeah,
sure you
no,
touch the ground.
Oh, I mean,
God.
Lord have mercy.
Oh my God.
Baptize him.
I mean, kudos to this kid for sticking his head in there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, man. That's a dog right there. You should get an offer to a JUCO just for that. But there's a reason Kerry's Kern's going to LSU, and he might be a starter in year one. He's a monster, too. And last one for LSU, Bo Bordelon. I watched his Baylor film as well. Versatile. He's your swing man. He's got really, really strong hands. He's smart and savvy, and he's a legacy. I'm interested to see where he kind of fits in. You've seen him be the extra guy, put a tight end number on. He's played a lot. He's played a good bit of football at LSU. I'm very interested to see where he kind of fits in.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the guy I have the least amount of feel for, honestly.
Yeah.
But it just kind of seems like he's out there. He's getting the reps. There are a lot of guys that
He's
are
trusted.
Yeah, there are a lot of guys
to
that are
an
really
extent.
talented that aren't getting those reps.
Right.
So, that says something unto itself.
No, I'm with you.
He's a must-have in the room.
Yep.
Leader.
Mm-hmm.
Experienced.
Safety net.
That's where I'm thinking highest floor.
Yeah.
If he
plays,
you'll be fine with Bordelon out there. He doesn't have the potential of a Carius Kern, but Bordelon will play and he will get reps and he'll do whatever it probably takes to be. Obviously, he's already done this to get on the football field. And I'll be the extra tight end.
He will die on that football field.
Do you think there's a chance, going back to Carius just for a second, that obviously he's going to be a future tackle?
Yes.
Does he get rotated in at guard?
I wouldn't be
if
surprised.
there are-
I think he could potentially be your best five, and that means playing wherever. I'm interested to see what that means because he got work at both tackle spots. He was backing up Tyree. Now he's battling Davis, and they have that one guard spot up for grabs. I think it's kind of just open season.
Yeah.
See where he fits, and if he's the guy, I'll be interested to see. But I graded this room a C room, just average, because I see the potential. I put the potential as a B plus because I think there's very, very good potential in this room. They're a C because they haven't played football.
They haven't played football together,
and they have not played together is the biggest thing, and that is the perfect point to kind of turn the page to Clemson because this is a group that's played a lot of football together.
It's opposite in a lot of ways.
Yes, this is a group that's played a lot. They're experienced not only on the field, they're experienced next to one another. Tristan Lee, Colin Sadler, Ryan Lincoln, Walker Parks, Blake Miller, Elijah Thurman, Harris Sewell is the 7-man rotation. Dabo highlighted. I've got 2 stars on this line. Tristan Lee, Blake Miller, those are the 2 tackles. Lee was obviously a 5-star out of high school. I remember when his recruitment was going on. Very, very good in pass protection. He's a competitor. I wasn't impressed in the run game when I watched him, and I think this is part of why they have some question marks around running the football because, 1, they have a wide receiver at that spot, and 2, I just wasn't really impressed with his run blocking in the game I watched. I watched film from the Miami game last season in that game, so for the Clemson fans that tune into this, I only watched one game, and this one game is where I'm getting the takeaways from. He has really good feet. He has the most upside out of the entirety of the Clemson and LSU room.
You think so?
I do.
Okay.
But the run blocking could use some work from what I saw in that game.
So, I didn't watch as much film on the Clemson guys. I mostly did scouting reports on them to kind of get an idea of just the general overview, and his run blocking grade was actually higher than his pass blocking
grade
for the season. They said he was actually a more consistent run blocker than a pass blocker. So I don't know if it was just an off game or what, but that seemed to be the thing that stood out the most. That, and he's a guy that has a ton of physical talent, like you said, but maybe hasn't quite fulfilled it yet. And it says like last year he probably would have been 5th or 6th round draft pick just based on physical ability.
Right.
And him coming back and having Matt Luke as his coach, because that's kind of, if you want some overview stuff,
that's
on
the
these
biggest
guys,
takeaway.
Yeah, I got a few of those.
Yeah.
Kind of just general points on these guys, but would you like me to do them?
Yeah, you can hit those points.
All right. So basically, they are. I looked at a few position group rankings. Nationally, they were 10th for PFF. ESPN had them at number 9. They have 100 career starts between them, 4 returning starters. Matt Luke is the big takeaway, I think, here. And prior to them hiring him in 2023, the O-line was kind of a disaster over there, and he turned it from a weakness to a strength pretty quickly. He seems to have, they call it a glass eater mentality, is what he likes. Physicality, toughness, intensity, but also a lot of importance on these guys being athletic.
Yeah.
So, like you said, there are 7 guys that are going to play. But last year they were top 15 in terms of yards per game nationally. And they led the nation in terms of, they had 6 games where they had 200 yards passing, 200 yards rushing. So the offensive line is balanced,
Yeah.
And then other than that, they are, as a whole, the run blocking is definitely on the weaker side, but they make up with it in terms of their kind of RPO.
The scheme.
Yeah, their scheme blocks. They're really quick. They're really agile. And they're just fucking cohesive.
Yeah.
So that's just sort of the overview there, if you want to now touch back.
Yeah, cohesive is a really good word in general, but especially when talking about this line.
And here is a preview of the Clemson offensive line done by Clemson.
Having the confidence that we are the baddest dudes on the field.
The ultimate goal would be that when a D-line coach is looking at our film and they say, hey, you guys better be on your A game because these guys are going to come after you every play, and they're out there for blood. They're not just out there to do their job. They're out there to, make it hurt.
When people see us play, I want them to see our hearts and how much that we really love this game. We're a tight-knit group, and we play and do everything that we do for each other. But at the end of the day, you do have 5 dudes who love the game of football and everything about it. The lifts in the morning, and that's eating meals together, and that's doing the off-season stuff, the summer training. And I want people to, one, be impressed with our effort, intelligence, and physicality, and just, be appreciative of the way that we play and the way that we do things.
We finishing blocks, nasty effort, smooth, big athletes. If we're going to be the best of the best, we got to be on that every single day, and we're going to start for that.
Yeah, no, they're a good group. Cohesive is a really good word, and they were pretty good last year. And I think they're being named one of the best lines in the country, and I think a lot of that has to do with just the thought that they're going to improve upon what you saw last season. And when you saw number 78 a lot in that video, and rightfully so, because that's the best player on this offensive line. That's the best player from this whole entire breakdown of both lines. Blake Miller was the best player online I watched. He's the Clemson right tackle. I still saw a couple of question mark things in the run game. He graded very well there, but just in that Miami game that I watched, I wasn't as impressed with run stuff. But he's got good leverage. He's really good in pass pro. Really good. He's smart. He's reliable. He's played a lot of football.
Yeah, 41 career starts.
He's really good.
99% of all offensive snaps.
He
last
is
season.
Good. When you turn the film on and watch him, He's really, really good. I was very impressed watching him, and I get why they are as hyped up as they are because left and right side at the tackle spot with Lee and Miller, they've got two really, really talented offensive linemen there.
Like Miller he was A- grade in pass and run. They called him the linchpin of the line. He's an Iron Man. He's one of those dudes that just gets after it and literally doesn't take a play off. Third-team All-ACC. Beast.
Yeah.
Really good player.
No, he's good. He's very, very good. Next up, the center, Ryan Linthicum. Similar to Braylon Miller in the fact that he is the glue that holds the whole entire thing together. It would, as much talent as you have on the tackle spots, it would all fall apart if it's not for Mr. Linthicum in the middle. He's got really good feet. He's good in the run. He's balanced between run and pass. He's not better at one really than the other. He's got good pad height. Sometimes can get a little high. Just sometimes, just on a leverage standpoint from what I saw. He's moved he's been the center, but he's great at the second level. He's got really good balance, and he has developed is the word I would use. This is Miller right here. He's just, an absolute dog. He's really, really good. That's some of the run stuff I saw, but here in Pass Pro, he's good. He's good, man. But when talking about Linthicum, he's not anything that's super, super crazy. He's good in the second level, but he's developed at Clemson. Like, he's been there for a while. He's grown. He's played a lot of football. A lot.
Yeah.
Jonathan?
Well, so he's the other one that had 100% of offensive snaps. He did not miss a play on offense. Like you said, he's solid at run and pass, but mostly it does sound like more in that he is a really, really smart player. He can do a little bit of everything. And he is again. It's the pull at the strip club. He's the key. Yep. He's the stability guy. He's the anchor guy. He's the brains of the operation. Like you said, not a freak physically or anything like that necessarily, but he's a Remington watch list dude, and he's been there with these other guys for 3 years. You know?
He's experienced, and he's just part of that cohesive aspect we're talking about. With this line, they are a cohesive unit, and a lot of that has to do with the guy that they've played 100% of their snaps, and Ryan Linthicum, the center.
And that's as many snaps as you can take.
That's literally everything you can take. Yeah. Walker Parks, the right guard, has moved from tackle to guard. He's a good athlete, but he's had some struggles with the transition from tackle to guard. He's really good at the point of attack. Very, very good at the point of attack with his hands. He's got strong hands. He's got some similar pad height problems where he can be a little straight up, but he's also balanced between the pass and the rush and the run blocking. I was impressed with him as well, but I did see some of those struggles just from the transition from tackle to guard.
Yeah, I would say that he's steady, not elite. He's a leadership guy. Apparently, he's one of the more vocal guys on the line. He did have 14 starts, but he did move around, like you said, from tackle to guard. But not a huge guy, only 305, so, not a next level kind of athlete.
Right.
And definitely is probably the weakest in terms of just like all around usefulness, I guess is the kind of way to put it. But
wow, rude.
It's just like the grades say it, the fact that he's kind of been switched around. But like we said, these are guys that know each other.
He's experienced. He's played football.
Played so much football.
With these guys.
Yeah. And so, it's not a knock on the dude at all, but it's like if you had to pick a weak link out of the 5, it's probably this guy.
Yep. Next, they've got Colin Sadler, who's got a pretty extensive injury history, had a pretty bad back injury that he's recovering from and battling for that left guard spot. Because I was reading about him, I was like, why is he – he's been there for a while. He's got some good experience. He's not super experienced, but he's a mauler.
But
he's versatile.
Games at tackling guard.
He has. Yeah. Yes, he's versatile, got some experience, but he's battling for his job, and it's because of recovering from injury. He had a pretty serious back injury, but he's a mauler. Went back and watched his high school film. Looked really good. Some Clemson film, not much. He's aggressive. He's got good hands. He's versatile. He can move around, play different spots. And I see the vision with him. It's just the sense of coming back from a pretty serious injury. So that would be the starting 5 there. After them, they've got 2 of their little swing. They've got swingmen, not little, they're large actually. With Harris Sewell, who's fighting for that left guard spot. He went to a top-tier high school at Odessa. If anyone remembers that name.
Yeah.
It's pretty famous.
Panther. Friday Night Lights.
There you go.
Nights, they play football.
And so I watched his high school film. He's got a mean streak, the one we were talking about. He's got a little bit of fire to him. But he's got some experience at Clemson, and I was impressed with some of the things I saw in high school just from that mean streak spot where he's got some fight to him.
He's already got 1,000 career snaps. He's the youngest guy in the line in that he's a true junior, I think. Seems like he's graded a little bit higher as a run blocker, but his thing is he's apparently very astute at in-game adjustments. So he's another smart lineman. That kind of seems to be a recurring thing here, is that these guys they're heady players.
Intelligent.
So, when you have 5 guys that are smart and know each other and have a top-end coach, it's that can make up for maybe the fact that they aren't all NFL-level physical specimens.
Right.
But it's a unit.
No, I'm with you. Next up, the last one, Elijah Thurman, before I let you sprinkle in some of those extra guys. He stepped in well when he played. He did end up getting hurt in one of his starts last year. He's got really strong hands from what I saw in his high school film, and he's versatile, can play multiple different positions. Really good athlete. I was impressed with what I saw from the high school film, but the level of competition is much different. Jonathan, what did you see with Elijah Thurman?
Same thing. I kind of got a couple different takes on his weight, but I'm going to go with the bigger one. So he's 340 about, and a really good athlete for that size.
Yes.
So that alone, I think, is worth mentioning. He probably is the 7th guy, but he was a 4-star player, flashed a ton of potential last year, and it's less him not being super talented and more them having everyone in place, So just the fact that he's pressing for time in this line speaks really highly of his natural ability. So I would say for 3 of the 5 starters, if we're gonna say the 6, the 2 guys battling for the left guard position, I'd say 2 of them are the tackles are NFL athletes.
Yep.
The other 4, not so much. Thurman is, in my opinion. I think that this is it's a guy that is yet to max out his potential.
But don't think he'll have much of an impact in game 1.
Probably
against LSU. I don't know if you'll see him get on the field. If I was an LSU fan, and I am, the focus would be on those 2 tackles, the center, but especially number 78, the right tackle, Mr. Blake Miller. Hit me with some nuggets on the rest of that room.
Yeah, they got a couple more. So they have 18 scholarship linemen.
Go home.
Which is
a Dabo special.
Bizarre. That depth chart went 5 deep at a couple positions and not walk-ons. I mean, these are scholarship high 4, 3-star guys. But there are 2 that stand out. One is a true freshman, Braden Jacobs, who we mentioned right at kind of the top. Like a truly elite tackle prospect. Gonna be a player. 6'7", 330 already, coming in as a true freshman. So he's going to get snaps at tackle. But like I said, it's just really hard to break into this group. And then they got a couple beef boys. Pennington, who's a senior, former 4-star guy, 6'5", 350. Again, spot play, but that's the kind of depth that they have. And then Easton Ware, who's another highly, highly rated true freshman, 4-star, can play tackle, can play guard. A little undersized maybe right now, but really good athlete. It's impressive. And then, like I said, 100 combined starts for these dudes. Super well coached. And the way I was kind of saying that they're almost the opposite to us is that I think that we have more high-end caliber athletes in the room, but they have guys that have maxed their potential. Like if we're a C- room with a B+ ceiling, they're a B room with a B ceiling. Like they're really good, but they're good because they're so coached up. They've played so much football together, and none of these guys are transfers.
Right.
They're all Clemson recruits.
Homegrown.
So they have all been here for, every guy on that line was a junior all the way up to graduate senior. So they've spent 3 years together, 4 years together.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing, man, and that's the reason why they win this position group.
Yeah.
Experience, cohesive unit, have been on the field and played, but they've also been together. Like, not only LSU's got guys that have played football,
but just met
they haven't
3 months
played
ago.
together ever.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest difference, man. And one of the things I'm really interested to see is their tackles are really good. And what's the position group that LSU that's been raved about at LSU since spring football? Is the edge rusher position.
pass rush.
You saw what the pass rush looked like in the first year of Kevin Peoples with Swinson and Jones. And obviously you went out and you got top-tier talent, Peyton, Pyburn, Butler. You've got Relaford. You've got Kalaj Cobbins. You've got Harold Perkins. You've got a bunch of weapons to use in that realm. They're going to be matched up with 2 really good tackles. And so that's going to be a fun battle to watch, is the edge rushers versus these tackles, because they're really, really good.
They are.
And I put them as a B+ room with A- potential.
Okay.
So not a big jump that they can make. I think they're very close to their ceiling. Mm-hmm. I think that the cohesive aspect of an offensive line can a lot of times make up for top-end talent.
Absolutely.
And I think they have really, they've got that in spades.
The poster boys for this.
Yeah. And so I think this is a good offensive line. And I'm be interested to see what they look like matched up with LSU's defensive line, which we'll talk about. Monday and Tuesday next week will be D tackle and edge rusher. So that will bring the final tally of position groups in this matchup to quarterback. We said was a push. Klubnik and Nussmeier. It can go either way, so that would create a 0-0-1 record. Running back goes to LSU, which make a 0-1-1 record. Wide receiver, I've labeled as a push, because they kind of, the 2 things I'm basing these position groups off of are experience and potential, kind of. Talent's obviously in the mix there. I think they're equally talented. The thing that would separate them is Clemson's got much more experience. LSU's got much more potential, I would say, in depth. And so that room is a push as well, and which basically means you can say either one. I'll say, okay, I agree with you. Like, I understand. I see your point either way. Tight end, LSU wins handily. So that would make it Clemson would be, 0 groups to 2 groups for LSU. And 2 tied, and then offensive line, Clemson wins it. So it would be Clemson with 1, LSU with 2, and then a push for the other 2, quarterback and wide receiver. These are 2 really, really good offenses. That's the takeaway from this week. Really, really good offenses.
And I would hope that any Clemson fans that do come across this would think that we gave them a fair shake here.
I hope so. I mean, I think they're obviously, like, saw a big homer on our wide receiver and tight end post the other day, but you're going to have those. I understand it. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. A late edition of Tingle & Co. Once again, apologize for this morning.
I'm sorry.
But we made it happen. I think this was probably 2 hours.
Yeah.
If I had to guess. So appreciate you guys getting in here, hanging out with us. We'll be back Monday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. is the goal. But I saw in the Discord maybe a little time change, question marks, we'll see. But 7 to 9 on Monday. We'll see you then. Appreciate you guys, and we will see you.
And it's